That was nice timing, Matt.
Was it good?
Did you plan that?
Yeah.
Hello, world.
Bon Beanie. Cheers. Salutations. I'm drinking Coke Zero, so it's not that exciting, but we're dieting, so I can't really drink alcohol for the most part. I mean, I could, but it's a lot of points.
I'm drinking water in this super cool cup that my trainer gave me. I don't know if she's gonna watch or if she'll jump on, but
brownie points.
I mean, it's like it's purple, which kind of looks blue in my thing. It's purple and teal and sparkly, which is like she said it looked like a mermaid. A reminder of her of a mermaid, so she had to get it for me.
Look at that. Somebody's waiting for bated breath. Where's Stevie? No, Wooly.
Oh, actually, where did you move him?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did. You moved him again.
I did. Yeah. Bon Beanie Kevin on this Aloha Friday. Indeed, my friend. Hello, my mama. Mama Sandy. Hello, Stacy. And Stacy saying hello to Kevin as well. Hello, Stacy. There it is. Saying hello to both of us. Let's see. Well, who else we got in here right now? We got Meg's Fun Time. Hey, Meg. Thank you for joining tonight. Nice. And Meg's giving you a nice background.
Aw, thanks, Meg.
I think the foreground's nicer, but that's just me. We got JT in the house.
Hello, JT.
Hey, JT. And we got James hanging out with us tonight. Hello, James.
Hi, James.
Tonight you might find an interesting topic, James, because it is going to be talking about how to select an excursion. And I think they're generic sort of things. Moonlight Adventures. Hey, thank you for joining us tonight. Moonlight Adventures. Good to have you on board here. What else we got? People saying hi to each other because it's the community. Gina says hello. Hey, Gina. How are you doing?
Hi,
Gina. Let's see. Uh-oh. JT sees Steve.
Oh.
Crikey. If you don't know what they're talking about, we are now hiding a pop of the Steve Irwin somewhere in the background, and your job is to find it. We're going to do that every week. Hey, Jeremy. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. And we got Griswold Family Vacay. Hey, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us on this fine Friday evening. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, what do we got? This was an ill-advised move. I just put Sean's comment up before I even read it. I just saw it was like a sentence. Kimbra, I was waiting to say this in person. Awesome. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do it again. Boom! Oh, he's just saying good day to somebody. All right. Hey, speaking of good day. I don't know. Anyway, we watched a movie.
We did.
It was called
Back to the Outback.
I believe it's pronounced Back to the Outback.
Did any of the characters? Yeah, I guess they did have Australian accents.
They all. Well, not all of them. Most of them had Australian accents.
The snake didn't.
Yes, she did.
Oh, did she?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Just not over the top one.
Okay.
Like I try and do, but yeah, there was one of them. It's an animated film, and
it's on Netflix.
It features like cool creatures, like the main character. And there are some inaccuracies in the biology of these animals, but I can overlook them because it was a beautiful movie, and the whole like theme of it is pretty cool. But it features a female taipan who is blue. They're not really blue, but she's like the main character, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say.
And then there's a Sydney Funnelweb in it.
Yes.
And
which I didn't hate.
Right. That's right.
I mean, they made it fuzzy and purple.
There's a thorny devil in it,
she was my favorite.
Which is not a dangerous lizard or anything, but I guess they're considered
thorny,
scary looking. And then there was a scorpion in it as well. So that was like the main characters, and then
a koala.
And then there was a koala who was kind of the outcast because he was pretty boy. There was some great voice acting talent in this, but the koala was voiced by
Tim Minchin,
who I love Tim Minchin. Great
what's the song?
And,
what's the song?
Musical artist.
that he does.
He does a lot of songs.
I know, but the one that I'm thinking of.
I don't know.
Yes,
42 days. That means that's a good number, 42.
Yes.
42 days. That's also a pretty even number. That's until we go on the MSC with JT.
Yeah.
Because that's like 6 weeks. Almost exactly 6 weeks. I mean, I guess it's 6 weeks from tomorrow. Technically, I think it leaves on a Saturday. And then, yeah, what are your countdowns there? Meg has got 14 days. All right, Meg.
Confessions. You should listen to Tim mention Confessions.
Yes.
It's a lovely song.
Yes. And then let's see. Stacy's got 50. Didn't you just get back from a cruise, Stacy? 50 days on his cruise.
I mean,
yeah, Meg wins, Kevin, for sure. Meg wins.
So wait a minute, Matt. We have 42 days, right?
Until the MSC cruise.
And then we have 91 days.
Until the October cruise.
Right.
Which is the Down Under group cruise, Spikers, Us and More, and the very first Helping Hands for cruising.
And then we have 239 days.
Until our group cruise.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And stop right there. And yeah, that's all we're announcing right now. Okay. Carnival Valor. That's what Meg is going on.
Cool.
The Carnival Valor. She's going on the Carnival Valor. Isn't it out of New Orleans? I believe it's going out of New Orleans. The Carnival Valor.
Okay. So I want everyone to know that I got some new shampoo to help brighten the purple in my hair, and it's working really well.
She put poo in her hair to make it purple.
I mean, doesn't it look much more vibrant?
It does. It does.
I need to fix my roots, but overall, like, it's not like pink anymore. It's definitely purple again.
Yeah. Sean has 75 days to the plane, then 91 days to a certain cruise that we just mentioned. JT, look at that. JT's got 42 days. Interesting. 128 and then 245. That's an interesting number. Let's see. What is he saying? Matt, you sound like a horse race caller. Oh, that was kind of my Kennedy Boston accent. I'm not very good at that one, but. And coming around the corner, now it's Howard Cosell. Somehow it went to Howard Cosell. Oh, well, I'm just going to give up right there.
Okay.
Let's see. Nick. Hey, Nick. Welcome on board. 193 days till I fly to Dublin. Oh, that's not a cruise, but I know my accents are all mixed up. But that's pretty cool going to Dublin. Very, very nice. You can have some proper pint of Guinness in Dublin. Moonlight Adventures has 63 days until Chastity and I sail on the Symphony of the Seas for your anniversary. Well, happy early anniversary. And that's exciting. Symphony of the Seas, that's a huge, huge, huge ship, right? Royal Caribbean, big, mega ship there. Very cool. Very cool. Have to let us know how that goes when you get back. If you enjoyed it, you may have been on that size ship before, but, get your perspective, your current perspective.
So I want to, since we have a nice little group of chat in here, I want to just mention those of you that may or may not have noticed, we did do a name change on our YouTube channel. Matt?
We did. That is true. We should point that out.
Yeah. So when we started the podcast, it was Fintastic Cruising, and we were just doing the audio only podcast. And then we started the YouTube channel, which was supposed to be like not just about cruising, but like adventuring in Florida and going to Universal Studios and all of these other things. So we called it Universal Studios because it was supposed to be kind of all encompassing. And then, of course, we didn't do any of those things.
We did a little bit. We reviewed the Hagrid ride, which is still the coolest.
But now our passes are expired.
Yeah,
so we decided to keep things consistent, and we made it Fintastic Cruising across the board because that is
confusion.
because people were like Fintastic Studios, Fintastic Cruising,
Who are
Fintastic
you?
something. So now we're Fintastic Cruising, except for booking a cruise with me, and that's Fintastic Travel.
Yeah, that's still different, but I think that makes sense. We also have it looks like we have Sharon. Where did that go?
Sorry, I had to talk about
No,
that.
that's okay. That's all right. That's all right.
What have you lost?
I've lost the chat.
Oh,
Wait, hang on.
I don't know where you're
Sharon
at.
and Gary from, there it is, the cruising scene, saying hello. Thank you for stopping by. I thought they said something else too, but maybe that's all I saw there. And Nick P saying, "Bye, Sean." All right. So yeah, Fintastic Cruising, the channel now. And Sean is trying to help us out, saying that there's 13 people watching. Now there's 15 people watching, but only 8 likes. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up if you like what you see. And by that, I mean the video, not like my ugly mug. You might like.
Or the background.
Or the background. The background is worth a thumbs up. I do think so.
All right. Someone on Facebook said fantastic background. Let's see who that was.
Nick P says, I'm not a cruising person. I'm not a
That
cruise
was
person.
Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
It is an awesome background.
I'm spending 33 days on the island of Ireland, visiting family, historical sites. I found a home my ancestors left in 1851 during the potato famine. That is so cool. What an epic amount of time to be able to spend over there, too. That is really awesome. Very, very nice. Very nice.
All right. I think it's time.
Yeah, Meg, you wouldn't have found Fintastic Studios podcast because it was only Fintastic Cruising. So that is why we changed it, because it was confusing. It was confusing. JT says we're up to 11 likes and we had 16 people in the house. If you're on Facebook, it might be hard to smash that thumbs up. But if you are in the YouTube world, that was a weird thumbs up. Look at that. It's like all messed up.
Why are you broken?
I don't know. All right. What now? What were you saying?
Do you want to tell the good people how we do this?
So if you are new to this channel, what we do is this live stream bit that we enjoy quite a bit before 8:30. We're now a couple minutes late because I talk too much. And then we start the official podcast. We're going to roll the credits, the intro, I should say. And then we'll do our podcast, which sometimes we interact with chat. Sometimes we don't. If we're not, it's just because we are recording this as an audio podcast as well for the future. And that can be weird if we're just interacting with the chat. Then when we end that, theoretically in around an hour, I'm going to try real hard to keep it at that or under tonight. We'll see how that goes. And then we come back after those credits and we are back kind of chatting with you guys live for a little bit before we head on over to the Down Under Cruises.
All right.
All right. Let's go. Hey, Kenny.
Come with me. We're going on a Fintastic Cruise. Pick your destination with news, tips, and reviews. But here is an item you might not have thought of. All of the things under the water. Nature surrounds us with elegant features. You can't go on a cruise and not see the creatures. So let's make some magic. Let's get ecstatic. Instantly classic. Maybe romantic. The wildlife around you. Cinematic on your Fintastic Cruise.
Bon Beanie, thank you for joining us on another episode of Fintastic Cruising. I am Matt.
And I am Kimbra.
And we are here to talk to you guys about how you can, with some tips. We're not going to tell you how to do anything. That's up to you to decide. But we are going to give you some top 10 tips that we came up with on how you might be able to increase your odds of getting a cruise excursion to your liking. To your liking. That was I felt a little Muppet in
I'm going to say that sounded...
To your liking. Sam the Eagle, maybe? I think I was going Sam the Eagle.
Okay.
Though. Sam the Eagle. Okay. So before we get into that, we have just a couple bits of news. We have just a couple bits of news to go over. Breaking news. Kimbra sneezing. Bill with 11. Ew. Okay. So what's the news? What's the thing we want to talk about?
You mean like the regular thing, or are you thinking something different?
No, the regular thing.
Oh, You mean the group cruise?
The group cruise.
The Fintastic group cruise,
Yes, indeed.
which is leaving out of Tampa on the Carnival Pride, March 12th through 19th, 2023. Tell us where it's going, Matt.
Well, it's going to go to Grand Cayman in the Cayman Islands. Next, it's going to go over to Mahogany Bay on Roatan in Honduras. After that, it's going to take a quick stop to Belize in Belize. And finally, a trip to Quintana Roo, Mexico, and the island of Cozumel.
That's great, Matt. And can you tell them how to book this cruise?
Why, yes, I can, Kimbra. All you have to do is shoot an email, an alien email over to fintastictravel@gmail.com. That's fintastictravel@gmail.com. And if you act today, you will not get a free set of Gitsu knives.
So what Matt's really saying is we need some more cool people on the group cruise to come with us. We've got a bunch. I know there's people that are thinking about it, people that have talked about it, people that need to book it.
Yes, book it, Dano. Look, it's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be hosting the second Helping Hands for Cruising recipients, which is really exciting. And we've been like getting to know them because we've been booking them and talking to them and stuff like that. In fact, they might still be in our chat if you're live on the YouTube. James and Cindy Catanese, and they are spectacularly wonderful people, just like Kenny, who was also in here for a minute. But Kenny does a lot of things, and he is the first recipient going on the group cruise in October, which is the Spikers, Us and More, and the Down Under Cruises group cruise. So if you're interested in that, head on over. Just look for Helping Hands for Cruising, and you will find links. If you can't find it, shoot us an email, fintastictravel@gmail.com. We will point you in the right direction for the other group cruise, or we will get you set up for our group cruise. If you have questions, comments, concerns, stories, anything like that you'd like to share on this podcast, you can also shoot us an email to fintasticcruising@gmail.com, and we might read it on the podcast as long as it's not really filthy.
And if you get the two emails mixed up, I'll get them to the right places.
And we might even read it if it is really filthy.
Depending on, how muddy it is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, so that's going to be exciting. Also, we said this before we started, but just in case you're listening out there and you're confused about it, we do have a YouTube channel where we did just launch a new video finally. And that video was us snorkeling where?
Was that the Half Moon Cay video?
Yes, it was Half Moon Cay. Half Moon Cay. And that is on the YouTube channel that is now called the Fintastic Cruising.
No, it's just called Fintastic Cruising.
Fintastic Cruising, formerly Fintastic Studios, but we try to make things simpler. So it is now Fintastic Cruising, the YouTube channel. And go check that video out. Make sure and give it a thumbs up if you like it. Hit the bell so you're notified when new videos come out on YouTube and Fintastic Cruising.
I also want to point out that we deleted the Fintastic Studios page on Facebook.
We did. Was my face just blurry? And anyway, yes, we did.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to streamline things, make things simpler. It's a confusing world. We don't want to add to that confusion. Also, speaking of confusing, I have a channel that I've started recently, and really Kimbra's helping me out with it immensely, and that is my Draw with Matt channel. So if you want to watch me draw and listen to me blabber on and chat with folks, check that out. There's going to be some videos, regular videos coming out on there as well, but it's all going to be focused on drawing, and it is not a cruise or even creature-centered channel, although I guarantee you there will be a lot of those things because it's me and that's part of who I am. But there's more to me than cruising and creatures, believe it or not. And so I'll be drawing other things too and having fun.
I have to point this out, something that was said in the chat that made me laugh a little bit because I read it totally wrong, sort of. So Meg said, "Your ribs looked great," and then tagged Cindy. But when I first read "Your ribs look great," so I started working out again this morning, and my abs are kind of starting to hurt.
That'd be fast results right there.
So when I read "Your ribs look great," I was like, "You can't see my ribs," but yeah, That's totally off subject, but that's what I thought of when I read
Kimbra,
that.
your ribs look great.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, so all right, where are we going? What's happening now? Oh, we're gonna do the cruise creature right now.
We're gonna mix things up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I gotta find the thing.
Today's cruise creature brought to you by the island of Bermuda. That's right, the cruise creature today is the Bermuda Chub. Go ahead and throw a picture up there.
Oh.
If you're listening in, you won't be able to see this unless you have some sort of superpower that I am unaware of, but you can head on over to YouTube and check out the video or just Google Bermuda Chub. The thing is, you might get different results depending on what I think age the fish is. And so the reason we're doing this fish, the Bermuda Chub, as a cruise creature is because we decided it would be kind of cool to start covering some cruise creatures that are super, super commonly encountered on cruises, not on the ship, but in the water in the Caribbean.
Maybe we should do a human next time.
As a cruise creature?
I mean, do you encounter humans?
I do. I just find humans to be less interesting than most other
Well,
creatures.
of course.
But anyway, the Bermuda Chub, it is called the Bermuda Chub. I don't know why it's called Chub. Don't even go there. But anyway, it's not just found in Bermuda. In fact, it's pretty much in a large portion of the earth. It covers kind of tropical, subtropical areas. It does go by a few different names, but Bermuda Chub is what it's normally referred to in the Caribbean. And if you are to see it, it'll sometimes look like the picture that's up right now, which is kind of a disc-shaped fish. But if you see juveniles, and that's what I've been able to ascertain from doing research, is that you get the spotty one. So go ahead and put the spotty one up there. But here's my problem with this. I've seen large Bermuda Chub with these spots, and I've seen them disappear and fade away. So I've had a hard time researching what the spots are, but the only thing I've seen reference to is that it's when they're juvenile. So take that for what it's worth. But if you are in an area swimming near the surface, there are certain fish that tend to come and check you out because usually people have been feeding them. And this is one of those fish, the Bermuda Chub. Sometimes they have a little bit of a yellowish tint to them, like on their face and around their eyes. Sometimes they look a little pink as well. But normally they're just going to be that kind of disc-shaped fish, the Bermuda Chub. I'll tell you an interesting thing about the Bermuda Chub. Do you want to hear it?
I do.
Do you want to hear it?
I do.
Okay. Here's what's kind of interesting about the Bermuda Chub. When they're little baby fish, they hang out in the sargassum.
Oh.
Yeah, they float around. That's why they're circumglobal, is they float around in the sargassum, and then when they get bigger, they go wherever they're closest to, I guess, and they start living their life there. That's one fact. Now here's the other one. They eat a lot of different things, which is why they're around where the people are feeding them. But one of the things they've been seen to do is to feed on the excrement of spinner dolphins.
Oh.
Like, it's been noted that they follow dolphins around and eat their poo.
Oh, you know what? And vomit.
Oh, and vomit. Okay. I mean, why not? I don't know how often dolphins vomit, but they probably poo more than vomit. This is going downhill fast. Anyway, yes, think about that next time you're swimming in the ocean. All the dolphin poo and vomit that you're swimming in.
I have a fun fact too.
Okay.
The Bermuda Chub is not the most sought after fish for eating. Do you know why?
Do they have cigarette poisoning or something?
Because of the smell of its innards and its greenish gray flesh.
Oh, I didn't find that fact. That's interesting. So if you're a fan of
but apparently once it's cleaned properly and cooked
Adventures.
well, it's reported to taste mild with a smooth and tender texture.
Oh, okay. So you just got to get past that. Moonlight Adventure said sounds like a really crappy situation. Yes. Yes, indeed. All right. Moving on. JT says because they eat poop. Well, that will do it. I mean, you are what you eat, right? So sometimes that'll make you kind of gross.
Yeah.
We almost did the frigate bird. We've actually covered the frigate bird before, but we saw some when we were in Egmont Key last weekend. And when we saw one doing this behavior, frigate birds will like harass smaller birds like gulls and stuff like that to and what the gulls will do is an escape mechanism is they will vomit, they will regurgitate, and it makes them lighter and it distracts the predator. Well, they make them regurgitate and then they eat the regurgitated fish. So the gulls go and fish and do all the work, and then the frigate bird, which is huge, and comes down, makes them puke, and then eats it. Anyway, well, that's the frigate bird. So, Sean says, hey, if there's nothing else to eat, just saying. I might starve. I don't know. All right, so here we go. We're going to get into our main topic tonight, which is 10 tips for selecting and booking excursions. And do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Tip number 1, think about it sooner rather than later. So here's what I mean by that. When you book your cruise, you should start thinking about excursions very, very soon after you book your cruise, depending on how far out you book it. I mean, if it's like 4 years out, then you probably have some time. But if you booked it like 6 months in the future, start thinking about it now. Here's why. 1, you need time possibly to do the proper research and make sure you get the right excursion for you and that you get a good excursion. But also, if it is a good excursion and you're booking through the cruise line, which we're going to talk about that as well, sometimes the good ones do fill up and sell out. Now, I will tell you in my experience, that doesn't happen that often.
Did happen to us.
But I have seen it happen. It has happened to us, and they opened it back up for us. Right?
Yeah, it ended up working out.
But that is a thing. And the reason you should book it early is because if you're booking through, this is for the cruise line specifically, and this may apply to booking outside of the cruise line, but if you're booking through the cruise line, most cruise lines will give you a 100% money back up until like something like 24 hours, maybe 48 hours before the excursion. Check with the cruise line on what their particular policy is, but it's usually pretty generous. And so, you can always cancel it later, but you can't book one that's filled up. So get your slot, make sure you don't miss out. That's tip numero 1.
Okay.
You want the next one there?
Sure. Look at all of your port stops as a whole. As a whole, days in a row. That does not.
This is notes.
Those are just notes. Got it. So think about how many places you're going, and if you've got sea days between, if you've got like port. Think about all of that, and don't necessarily overdo it, or don't necessarily pick the wrong thing for the wrong place. So if you want a beach day, maybe look at where you're going and where the best port for a beach day is, instead of just saying like, okay, this is our first stop, let's go to the beach. Might not be the best place for the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, especially if you're new to cruising and you're like, maybe you're a person that doesn't live near the beach, I think the beach is a good example. People might be like, first port, beach, but maybe that's like not the best place to do that. So
or you're all about adventure, which is wonderful and amazing. But if you are going somewhere and waking up at 7 a.m. every morning, for some people, that's not normal. And you're ziplining one day, and you're hiking one day, and you're cave tubing another day, and you're like just adventure, you are going to wear yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're gonna either end up skipping a port. I know people who have done that, and that's okay, but you don't want to skip the one that you were really looking forward to because you just don't have the energy. So kind of plan that in ahead. Look at the whole picture. The next tip number 3, is research the port. Do you want time in port to like shop, eat, drink, stuff like that? So basically, a good example of this is on our last cruise, we only had one port stop. It was Cozumel, Mexico. We were considering doing the whale shark excursion, which there were a lot of factors that went into why we decided not to do that. But one of those factors is that we would have literally gotten off the ship, went immediately, first thing in the morning, as soon as we could off the ship, immediately over to Cancun to do the whale shark thing. We would have gotten back like kind of late. I mean, it would have been okay. The cruise line knows that, but we would have had no time, 0 time at all. Not even like 5 minutes to shop in Cozumel, do anything fun in Cozumel. And we kind of wanted that Cozumel experience. So Think about that. How long are you in the port for? How far is that excursion going? How long is it going to be? And is that okay with you? Maybe it is. I mean, if we were doing multiple ports, I probably have been like, that part doesn't bother me at all. But think about what you want and then make sure that you plan appropriately. Because like someplace like Cozumel has got a lot of really cool shops. Maybe you want to get a drink. Maybe you want to chill out at like Fat Tuesdays or one of those places and have a drink. And now you don't have time. Or maybe you want to get a fish pedicure.
I'm all about the fish pedicure.
We did that in Costa Maya. We got fish pedicures. Wasn't that Costa Maya? Mm-hmm. So, make sure you have time to do what you want to do. Or, if you don't want to do that stuff, that's okay too. All right. Next one you've got here.
Next we have look at the cruise line options first to see the times and examples of what is available. So looking at the cruise line excursion options is a great way to get an idea of what you can do at each port. And then once you get that idea, and you may not want to book through the cruise line, but then you can go outside of that and see what other options are there. But if you don't look somewhere first, you're not necessarily going to know them.
Yeah, and often cruise lines will have a wider variety of excursions than you would see, like if you went to an excursion company or something. And also, there may be something you would have thought of that the cruise line offers, like whale sharks. Who knew?
Right.
Who knew? So it's a good thing that even if you're like adamantly opposed to doing an excursion through the cruise line, which I think is a mistake in every situation, but I understand why you would have that mindset. You should at least look at them, because it's not going to hurt to look at them. So, yeah. All right, next one, we've got tip number 5, which is determine if you want to book independently. So this is what we're talking about. And here's the way that I assess this, because I do book through the cruise line and I book outside of the cruise line, and I use certain factors to make that decision. So one of the things I think about is how much time is the excursion going to take, and how close to when the ship leaves is that excursion going to go, because I don't want to miss the cruise ship. And if I'm on a cruise line excursion, I know I'm guaranteed that they're going to somehow get me back to the ship, and I'm going to be okay. Most independent companies will supposedly guarantee that, and it's not that I doubt that that's true, but there are reputable companies and probably less reputable companies. And so for my peace of mind, I want to go through the cruise line. Like if I'm going to the whale shark thing, there's no way I would do that outside of the cruise line. But even going to like Mayan ruins or something like that, I'm not going to book outside of that, because it's going to be like an hour and a half. What happens if your little van or something breaks down and now you're stuck somewhere in the middle of Quintana Roo and you can't get back to the ship on time? The cruise ship is going to be in contact with their excursions. They might be with independent excursions, but they are with those. Now, having said that, you will probably save money if you book outside of the cruise line, which can be a big perk, because you're probably also going to get a smaller group of people. You might get to customize your excursion to tailor fit your needs, and you might get an overall better quality excursion. This is often the case. It's not always the case, but a good example of this is in Grand Cayman. If you do Stingray City and you go through the cruise line, you're going to be on like a cattle boat, with a bunch of people. But if you book through, what is it, Captain Mike's?
I don't remember what they're called.
There's a few different local independent companies. You're going to get as good of a deal or a better deal, smaller boat, less crowd. Great example of when to book outside of the cruise line. And that's going to help you out. So those are some things to think about, is quality, time, and money. You want to be safe, but you also want to have the best experience. Another thing that affects my decision on whether I'm going to book through the cruise line or not through the cruise line is basically, have I been to this port before? Am I familiar with this port? Do I feel comfortable in this port? There are certain ports that I feel very comfortable in. Cozumel is one of those. Grand Cayman is one of those. Nassau is one of those. Puerto Rico is one of those. There's a lot of ports. St. Thomas is one of those where I feel very comfortable and I am very willing to book outside of the cruise line. There are other ports like maybe Dominican Republic, especially not Amber Cove. I don't know how easy it is to even book outside the cruise line.
Yeah.
But what's the other port stop in Amber Cove that we've been to?
La Romana.
La Romana. I'd be a little bit more leery to book because there's
Belize.
not a lot out there. Belize is another one. Yeah. So it's your comfort level, but that's just something to consider. All right, we are on number 6.
All right. We have look at the reviews from multiple sources. So if there's 500 some reviews, of course you don't have to read all 500 of them. One of the things that I like to do is hit the most recent filter. So I'm looking at things that are happening or that have been happening around the time that I will be cruising. Because if you look at it from like 10 years ago, it may be completely different now. So you want to look at those reviews, but then also jump over to like TripAdvisor or like do a Google search or go to YouTube and search for that specific excursion to get a better idea of what it is that you're actually booking.
And that's a really good point that you bring up about the most recent, especially right now, because of course, we all know we've gone through this horrible experience of COVID and all this stuff, and it's affected businesses, especially in some of these small port areas. And so some of them are really trying to get back on their feet. And so the experience could have changed. I try and hopefully we can support them and bring all of these companies back to full speed ahead, but just be aware of that. And another thing to be aware of is if you are doing something that is animal related, especially underwater related, and this is probably more relevant in certain areas like Northern Caribbean, Bahamas, but you also want to pay attention to when those reviews were, because your experience on a snorkel or something like that in July might be very different from that same exact excursion in January because of temperature changes, seasonal changes, all kinds of stuff can impact that. So in some ways, in some types of excursions, that's not going to matter. But if you book the kind of excursions we book, like whale sharks aren't even available for half the year because the whale sharks just aren't there. But one of the reasons we chose not to do the whale shark excursion, even though it was available, is it was the beginning of the season. And the whale shark excursion is a long ride, a very long ride there, and a very long ride back.
And it's pricey.
And it's expensive, and it's a very short amount of time in the water. And so we wanted to maximize, when we do that excursion, and we will do that excursion, we wanted to maximize our time with seeing whale sharks. So we wanted to make sure we had the best odds of seeing multiple sharks and didn't spend what little time we have searching around for them, because they're not like in a big fish aquarium. They're wild whale sharks. So that can be a factor as well. And you kind of stole my next one a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Because the next tip is look for videos of the excursion or the area.
Oh, so, I thought that was part of, okay.
No, that was mine.
Well, but YouTube can still kind of reviews, man.
So you can don't just watch reviews, but just look for people's vlogs of experiences. And again, if you can find newer ones, that's going to be better, especially right now, because it's getting better. But like when cruising first started back up again, like Nassau, for example, was like a ghost town. And so people's experience right at that point would be different, in some ways worse because of maybe not as much going on, in other ways better because there weren't as many people around, depending on the excursion type. But yeah, YouTube is your friend. I mean, we have a YouTube channel, but there are so many people in the cruising community with YouTube channels now, which is wonderful. And so many people that aren't even really major parts of the cruising community, but maybe they just throw some videos up, or maybe they're in just travel in general. They're throwing videos up of these excursions that they're doing. Sometimes you can find an excursion somebody's doing and they're on a land-based vacation, but they can do basically the same excursion. And watching that and seeing it is going to give you more information than reading a review. And you know how people are with reviews. Like, people are going to nag and complain about things when sometimes they're valid, sometimes often they're not. And so when you look at those reviews, make sure you're looking at the whole picture of those. That's why you want to look at different places to find them and stuff. But also, keep in mind that their opinions might vary from yours. The last excursion we did in Cozumel, we did that snorkel, and for us, it was not a great excursion. But all the reviews we read were phenomenal. It was like, it got really high marks from all the reviews. We didn't like it. It was okay, but we wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't recommend it to people that are like us. So, but we're different than a lot of cruisers. Some people want to go sit on a catamaran and drink and party. And I'm okay with that to an extent, but that's not what I thought I was booking. I thought I was booking a snorkeling adventure on a coral reef, not following along the coastline for 500 yards, but probably less than that. But anyway, so if you watch videos, if you can find them, then this will give you a better understanding of what these excursions are actually like. And an even better way, possibly,
ask the cruise community for input. So there are tons of YouTube communities. Did I just say cruise or YouTube? What did I just say? I don't know what I said. Cruise Facebook pages. Ask your questions. I actually told Matt today, we're going on this MSC cruise in 42 days, and we're going to Grand Cayman, and I don't know where it's going to dock.
Right. If anybody does know where MSC docks in Grand Cayman, please send us a email, because we're not sure, and where we're going can impact us a little bit.
Because we know what we want to do there, and when we've gone there on Carnival, it's like a 7-minute walk. But if we don't go to the same place, if we don't dock in the same place, then it might take longer. That might impact probably won't impact what we do, but maybe how long we do it.
Yes, and we're going to be carrying scuba gear with us, so
yes,
not tanks or anything, but still.
It's a backpack.
All right, but it's
But yeah, so if you've got questions, or you're thinking about things, or you need some ideas, throw it out in some of those different community Facebook pages and groups. I'm sure someone there has experienced what you're looking for.
Absolutely. And it is such a wealth of information. Join, like JT saying, Facebook groups, join some good cruising Facebook groups. For example, JT is a moderator basically on Mr. Traveler's Facebook group, and we have the Fintastic Cruising community. There are a lot of great Facebook groups out there, and you will find people if you go to our chat. In fact, if you're in the chat now and you have a Facebook group, or you have one that you like, go ahead and put it in the chat so people can see that in the future, and they can find those on Facebook. And if you're going on a cruise, there's a good chance that there is a group on Facebook that is made for your cruise that you can get into, and your mileage may vary, but you can meet some fun people. But that wealth of information, and you're going to probably make some friends, which is never a bad thing. Now, James, I know you asked a question, and I'm going to try and remember to come back to that at the end, because it's not exactly to do with this, but I will try and answer that for you when we're all done.
I was also going to say that.
You beat me to it. All right. Next up, we are on number 9. Nueve, right? Nueve?
Yeah.
Okay. Research what you will need. All right. So when you figure out what your excursion is going to be, make sure you are prepared for it. What does that mean? Do you need bug spray? Do you need sunscreen? Are you in a place where they won't let you put sunscreen on once you get there? Like a lot of places in Mexico, if you're on the reef, for good reason. Are you going to need a bottle of water? Are you going to need cash to shop, cash to give tips? If you're going on a boat, if you're going on an excursion on a bus, a lot of times these people really, they can really use the tips. And it's in the Caribbean. I know some cultures tipping is not really a thing, but in the Caribbean, it is definitely sort of an expected thing. And they may say that, they don't expect it, but it's helpful to them, and it can go a long way. So think about what you're going to need and make sure you do that research so that you are prepared. What kind of shoes should you wear? Don't wear your fancy shoes. Yeah, JT's saying you might have to wear closed-toed shoes. Some places will require that for things that you're doing, like zip lining and stuff may have that requirement. You don't want to wear shoes that are going to give you a blister if you have to walk a long ways. Are you going to be in the water and out of the water? You might want water shoes. Are you going to want to bring a towel? Do you want to bring swim stuff?
Are you snorkeling? Do you have snorkel gear?
Right. All these things are things you want to be prepared for. Don't wait till you get there to find out that you don't have the right gear and setup for that. And number 10.
Number 10, make sure you fully understand the activity level and what to expect on the excursion. So I know on Carnival, I haven't looked at a lot of excursions on other cruise lines recently, which is weird. Anyway, I know on Carnival there's a section that says like important notes or something like that. So it tells you like the age requirement, like you have to be at least this years old or something of that sort. There's sometimes a weight requirement. It talks about if it's like high activity, how much walking you might be doing. So that stuff is really important to think about. If it's something that requires a lot of walking and walking is not your forte, probably shouldn't book that excursion.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's another advantage to going with the cruise line excursions is they will give you that rating, and not every place will, but that's another reason to do your research to find out. Don't get yourself in over your head, something that you can't handle, something that you're going to be uncomfortable or possibly even in harm's way because you're not able to do it. Make sure you choose the excursion that is right for you. Now, we have a couple of kind of extra little tips we thought of that didn't make the top 10 list, but just some little tips that can help you out. Check websites of tour operators. And even if you're going through a cruise line excursion, you can usually find the company, like look at the pictures and stuff, look for logos, names, and then go over and look at their website. A lot of these places have websites, and you can get a lot of information from those websites. It'll give you a better idea of maybe what you're going to do or what to expect. What is that company like and that sort of thing. Another cool tip that I like to do if I'm going to a port that I'm not super familiar with or that I maybe I'm a little familiar with or not at all is I will go to Google Maps and or any map program and look at that port. So you're kind of familiar with it. Study it. You can even download those onto your phone in most cases, and your app, your whatever map app that you use will probably let you do that so that you can use it when you're not online. But this is really, really beneficial. Like for example, Grand Cayman is a place I love to walk around. Nassau, place I love to walk around. But you're on the island. You're not like in the port special place. So having a rough idea of what it's like is really beneficial. And you can drag the little guy if you're on Google and drop him on, get the street view so you can really see stuff. It can be really helpful. So you know what to expect. And then I have written down budget because you had another point this morning.
Yeah. So one of the things that you can do is book your excursion in advance, which is, of course, kind of what we have been talking about from the beginning. But one of the reasons that I like to do that is cruising to me is kind of all-inclusive. So if you book your excursions before you get on the cruise, they're already paid for, which just adds to that all-inclusivity. So you know that you've booked your excursions, you've booked your cruise. Anything else that you've booked has been paid for. So when you get on the ship, you don't have to pay for any of that other stuff. You technically don't have to pay for anything else. Yeah, so it helps kind of with budgeting, kind of, or you can kind of get an idea of how much each of the excursions cost. So maybe this excursion costs like $400 and this excursion is $65. So you kind of know where you're at there.
Yeah. So those are our tips for helping you to pick and book an excursion. There are, I'm sure, many more tips that you can get from, say, different cruising communities and watching other videos, reading articles and different things like that. But those are the ones that we thought we wanted to share with you tonight. So thank you guys for listening to that. Tell you what, we actually, look at that. It's 9:09 and we started.
We like flew through that.
Like Mark from Mark, 9090. 9090. You never watched Mark from Mark. I was even young when that came out. So what was James' question? Because he had a question that I thought was a good question, not pertaining to excursions, but
yep, I will find it because it's right here. Can we have a dinner date in the room? How do I get food to the room? So there's a couple ways for that. One is you can order room service. That is typically an extra charge.
Depending on what it is and when it is.
Right.
But it's a very modest fee.
It is. It's not crazy, but it is an additional fee sometimes.
Some cruise lines, you pay one price, get whatever you want. Other, it's a la carte and that sort of thing.
The other option would be to go up to the buffet, get what you want, and take it back to the room.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Was there another one that I wasn't thinking of?
No, that's a little more work.
Oh, okay.
You can do that. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. And yeah. I see Me Traveling is in here, and he was on live with me on Lovey's, and he has been on MSC. We need to talk to you, see if we can get you on the podcast to talk about MSC in the near future, if you would be willing to do that. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but it was nice to meet you on that, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to do that. He's been on the Divinia and the Meraviglia, which is probably
Meraviglia. I think it's Divina Meraviglia. I'm probably saying it wrong too.
We also got Brian here, just saying hi to people now. Cool.
Okay. All
right. So, anything else?
I wasn't prepared to have time.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap up, and then we can come back and hang out with the people in the chat for a little bit.
All right. Let's do it.
Hey, and we're back.
We're back.
We're front. We're back. We're front. Hey, look, we're doing this thing now where we're trying to see if you guys can find Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. That was a really bad accent. And he's hidden somewhere in this background. So I know some of you spotted him earlier, but nobody has said where he is, which we appreciate. Save that for the end here. But if you can tell us where that Steve Irwin pop is, now is your chance to put it in the chat.
And for those of you that are just listening to the audio portion, you have to go to YouTube to find him.
It's like Where's Waldo, but instead it's Where's, I'm not going to say Steve-O, but oh, look at that. Look at that. Sean was ready. Right next to the D20 light right there. Yep. You see him here?
Well, now all of you that are coming over from the audio version already know where to look.
Oh, that's true. Well, they could have paused it or something, I guess. All right. There we go. But they have a reason to tune in the future. There is my man, Steve Irwin, and we're going to hide him every week in a different location. And yes, it was a little bit easier this week, JT. I wanted to start off easy, got to ease you guys into it. Next week, it'll get a little trickier on that.
Speaking of pause.
Is that long enough?
Guess so, since you spoke.
That's where we just cut off to edit for the audio version. So now we are just in it to win it with the chat. And I just want to say hi to CME Travel. Yes, we do need to talk to you about MSC. Brian, we got Brian here, who also noticed it was by the 27.
Did we miss? I feel like we missed some other people
We
that popped
probably
in
did.
while
I
we
know
were
Paul
going.
Vines stopped in and said hello. Thank you for stopping by,
See.
Paul. Good to see you here. I said hi to Kenny right before we went to the podcast.
Did you
but
get cruising on the
thank you,
high
Kenny.
seas, or did he pop in while we were
I
going?
think that might have been while we were going.
Well, hello, if we didn't say hi to you.
Yeah. Hello, and thank you for coming by tonight. I think we got everybody there. If not, let us know. We'll say hello to you. You're looking for other stuff and things. So we will sign out of here in just a few minutes, and we're going to head over to the Down Under Cruisers live stream, which starts at
10.
It doesn't start till 10.
I know. That's why I said, why are you trying to finish so early?
Okay, so we'll stick around for a little bit. As long as people are here, we'll stick around. If you guys don't want to stick around, we will not take it personally if we're not exciting.
You thought we were over time, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, no.
But we will cut out of here about 9:30 probably, and then we will head over and watch the Down Under Cruises with the beautiful Alana and Sean. He knows I love him. I'm just giving him trouble. All right. What is Dan saying? And more pause. My kitty just stopped by for a visit. Nice one, Dan. Nice one. Jeremy, going on MSC in September. Excited to try it, especially since it was a free cruise. Jeremy, which MSC are you going on and which week? Because that's what we're doing. Same deal there, sounds like. Cruising on the High Seas is Rob, Cruising on the High Seas. Also go by Bobby or Travel Talk with Larry and Rob. Fantastic studio. So yeah, and it's hard for me to remember. I know I've seen your channel.
Yeah.
But in the moment, the brain shuts down and I can't remember where
Stacy said is Reno sleeping.
Reno is not sleeping. He's just being a good dog.
All right. Come here, Reno.
Davina, September 4th. We will be sailing on September 4th. We'll be at sea on September 4th.
No, we will not. We will be at Repticon getting my new gecko.
That's right, because we're going to end of August. That's right.
Yes, we get off on the 3rd.
We get off on the 3rd. We'll get off the day. Okay, but not the Davina.
No, the seashore.
We're going on the seashore.
Come here, Reno.
Sell seashells.
Come here. No. I'm sorry, Stacy. Reno doesn't want to say hi.
Dan pointed out he is the director, according to our credits. He's the director.
He's not a very good director, always sleeping on the job.
Also, folks, and Meg, if you're still in there, if you could help us out with this, don't forget that Helping Hands for Cruising is still a thing that you can help us with. Here is the logo, but if we can get maybe a link to,
we could do this.
We can.
Here.
You can put it up there.
Well, I can do that.
Oh, right.
Does that work?
Yeah, that helps. So Helping Hands for Cruising, if you're not familiar, is a charity that Kimbra and I are part of, and so are many other wonderful people that helps to raise money so that we can get people on cruises that would otherwise not necessarily be able to do that. So it is a really cool opportunity for them, and it's a really cool way for us to help people and meet some new people and make some new friends, which seems to be what's happening, which is always a good thing, as I think I said earlier.
Yes.
So if you'd like to help us out, we do have cruise-a-thons every now and then, but that is not by any means the only time that you can donate to Helping Hands for Cruising. You are always welcome and encouraged to help us out whenever you can. We also have merch that you can get that will help support Helping Hands for Cruising with that artwork, which I drew.
You did, yes.
Yeah.
And
all the creative properties are only by Matt's. Fat Matt did the music, and I did the logo. So you have to be a Matt. No, that's not true. It just worked out that way so far. But yes, Helping Hands for Cruising. It's a really, really cool thing, and it is growing, and it is going to continue to grow. And you can help make that happen.
I want to get all the people on a cruise.
all the people on a cruise,
I
just
mean,
not at the same time. Because,
well, I mean, a ship full of cruising people would be cool.
that would be cool. I mean, the group cruises they haven't really been directly associated with Helping Hands for Cruising initially in either case.
Right.
But that I could see that as a thing that happens in the future where it's specifically a Helping Hands for Cruising group cruise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that could be a really fun experience.
Stacy said any damage from the storm last night.
Yeah.
No, we're in an apartment. It's a pretty solid building, but we did lose power for about an hour and a half. And the biggest problem with that was that we got home a little bit late. So Matt started his Draw with Matt live at 6:30. Of course, we got home at 6:15, which means we didn't have time for dinner. And I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll be done at 7:30. We'll make dinner. Well, no, the power goes out at 7:15 for an hour and a half. So we're like starving, and it's like lightning and thunder like you never even have seen. And we're just sitting in the darkness. Like, we have nothing to eat. We can't leave because we have stupid gates at our apartment that probably run on electric. So, power's out. We can't go anywhere.
Plus, we didn't want to walk out because it was
downpouring. Yeah.
And like, I felt like my odds of getting struck by lightning just walking out of the car were much higher than normal, which is probably still really low, but still.
Yeah. And we were looking at the electric web page or whatever, and it said like power will be restored at 1:20 a.m. And I'm like, we have to eat tonight.
Yeah, right.
It was not 1:20, so that worked out.
JT says his canopy almost took off last night, but he has it tied down.
Oh, wow.
That's good. And Dan mentioned that he has a listener. Oh, Dan has a podcast. Yeah, if you're a creator in there, let us know if you're a creator, #creator, and people can check you guys out. Like Dan, who's in there, and also Cruise Talk, and Down Under Cruisers, of course, Cruising on the High Seas. Quite a few creators in the audience, and Dan has a listener that donated Helping Hands for Cruising as well as his Pride Month drive. Very cool, Dan.
Cool.
Very happy to hear all of that. Yeah, CME traveling out there. They've got some fun videos. Cool. Cruising on the High Seas. I mentioned there, but yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm at like a loss for words. Isn't that weird?
I really want pasta right now.
That was right out of left field.
It's just what I've been thinking about.
Why are things always out of left field? What's so special about left field? Why couldn't it be right out of right field or center field or infield?
I don't know.
They always say things like that. That's right out of left field. Is that? I don't even know which is left field.
Maybe it's left out of right field.
I don't know. Oh yeah, James is a creator and supporter. Thank you, James.
You've missed a bunch of people.
On the high seas. Meg's asking if I'm sick.
Are you sick?
I don't think so. Do I sound sick? Or I don't know. Did I miss some other people?
Yeah, you missed those two right there.
Well, we mentioned. I
mean, yeah, but
Cruises creator, supporter, Fintastic Cruising lover. The cruising lovers.
And Meg.
Lovers. Oh yeah, Meg, the magnificent.
Is amazing. I
have a question for you, Meg, because I've been watching your puppet museum videos because I'm a fan of puppetry, and and I know you featured in the first ones all the Jim Henson stuff, which I really, really, really want to see. What I want to know is that puppet museum, is that Jim Henson stuff always there, or is that like a temporary exhibit, like a traveling exhibit? Because I need to see that. I definitely need to see that. I think she said, am I sick because I didn't have anything to say?
When
I was like, I'm speechless.
Oh, got it. I understand. Emma got stung by a jellyfish last week on the cruise. Was thinking about what you said a few podcasts back.
Oh.
Don't pee on it.
Don't pee on it. That's bad advice. Yeah, don't pee on it. I hope she was okay. Hopefully it wasn't too bad of a hopefully it wasn't too bad of a jellyfish sting. Most of them in the Caribbean and most of them in North America aren't too bad, but we do have some that can peck a wallop, as they say. What do we got here? Those exhibits are property of the museum. Please let me know if you come. I'll meet up with you guys. I never get sick of it. Oh, that is cool.
That's cool.
Meg.
I'd like to go there too, but I've been wanting to go to the Georgia Aquarium.
Yeah, Georgia Aquarium. I went to the Atlanta. That's all in Atlanta, by the way. I went to the Atlanta Renaissance Fair one time, and that was really cool. So we could time that out, and it would be pretty good.
Cindy and James had tacos today.
Hey, so did we.
We also had tacos. We were on our way home
Taco
and
Friday.
prepared to make hot dogs, and I said, I want tacos. So we had tacos, and they were delicious.
The lifeguards treated it with what appeared to be vinegar. It probably was vinegar. Vinegar is one of the go-tos for treating jellyfish stings. However, there is some controversy over, I don't know if it's blue bottles, the man o' wars, or some other species. And I want to say Hawaii, where they were like kind of didn't want to use vinegar. I don't know. But for the most part, vinegar is what will neutralize the venom from their nematocyst cells. Interesting story. I was teaching an alligator safety program this week, and it was for little bitty kids, but the adults were asking me questions before the program actually started, and they're from Florida, and they asked me the whole, should you run in a zigzag question? And no, if you're chased by an alligator, do not run in a zigzag. And they were shocked by this because apparently when they were in school, like they did the tornado drills and stuff, and they also did zigzag like drills to get protected from alligator attacks, because it's so common for alligators to lunge out of the water at people here in Florida that
I think it would be hilarious to see a bunch of kids like zigzagging through a field.
Right. So here's the thing. Okay. First of all, don't zigzag, because one, I'll tell you why they say that. Alligators are, and this would go for crocodiles as well, alligators are very fast swimmers, and they can burst out of the water at pretty high speed. They're not good runners, all right? Not very good runners, most of them. The Johnston's freshwater crocodile's okay, but when they come out of the water, they're like fast, but they're not really maneuverable. So somebody at some point in history was like, well, you could zigzag and, put a little move on them, a little juke and stuff like that. Well, guess what? You're not a running back in the NFL. You're not going to be thinking clearly if an alligator is jumping out of the water at you. You're going to zig. The alligator's going to go forward, and you're going to zag right into the alligator's mouth. Perfect for the alligator in the very unlikely event that actually happens. But here's the reality. If you are ever chased by an alligator, all you have to remember to do, this is the best advice I can give you. If you're visiting Florida, if you live in Florida, you're chased by an alligator, all you need to do is trip the person you are with. That's it.
Or
no, the reality is
use a child.
Wow.
I'm just
that
kidding.
Went dark. By the time you know you are being chased by an alligator bursting out of the water at you, you are caught by an alligator bursting out of the water. You don't have time to sit down and do like math, okay? The alligator has surprised you. It bursts out of the water. You are now caught by the alligator. So my advice is, if you see alligators in the water, you need to stay a good 10, 15 feet away from the edge of the water to be sure that you're safe, especially if people have been feeding those alligators, which is illegal. That'll just make it worse. But yeah. There's my PSA for Florida alligator safety this week. Let's see. Meg says, "Oh, I never get sick of the aquarium either." So Meg, we have contacts at the Georgia Aquarium, right? Carmen's still,
Carmen,
when she's a diver there.
Yeah.
So I don't know for sure if we could get any kind of deals to get in, or maybe even do a little whale shark experience. Those are pricey. I don't know if she has the ability to give us any
I don't know if she has that pull yet.
But I can tell you this, if she was the one that did it, she would make sure it was like the best possible.
Oh yeah,
experience ever.
absolutely.
And maybe give us like some tours or something. I don't know. I'm promising things that I can't promise because I'm not her. But she is actually she used to work at our aquarium, and she is also the person that's certified Kimbra for scuba diving. So we know her pretty well. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Paul says the aquarium, and every time I go to read a comment, I go to put it up there and then it fades out as I go to read it. It's really confusing. The aquarium and puppet museum are amazing. I do not doubt that.
Reno.
I'm a
bye.
huge Jim Henson fan. Do I have Jim somewhere?
He's over.
Oh, he's over there.
Well,
shit, he's somewhere around here.
He used to be over there.
I have 3 pops. I have Dritz Doerden, Jim Henson, and Steve Irwin. I don't know where Jim's at, but anyway, huge Jim Henson fan, and so that I'd probably be in tears the entire time, but they'd be somewhat happy tears. We lost him way too soon. Anyway,
technically, you have 4 pops because you have Guinevere.
That's true. Guinevere came with Dritz Doerden.
Come here, Reno.
That's true. You trying to get the dog?
I am, because he has
sighting?
fans. Come here, dog. Reno. Just stand there, please, because that's what I asked you to do.
I'm going to be doing an aquarium up here in the near future. Where are you at, and what aquarium?
Come here, Reno.
Are you going to be going to?
Come on. Come here.
Cindy, this is James. Cindy Matt said, I can use you to feed a gator. No, I'm just kidding. Don't really do that. Please don't do that. I say that sometimes to groups of people and children even, but I always make sure I tell them I'm joking. I don't think it would really work either. They say the same thing about bears.
Get out of the cords.
She's trying to bring up the dog. Oh, Ripley Aquarium in Toronto. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I would be, you should vlog that. And maybe that's what you're saying you're going to do, because I would like to see that. Ripley's is like a chain of aquariums. Is that what the aquarium is in Orlando? Is that a Ripley's?
In Orlando, not Sea Life.
Sea Life. That's another chain of aquariums. But there are
Gatlinburg has a Ripley's.
Yeah.
I've been there.
I heard good things about them. Yeah, Brian's saying Ripley aquariums are pretty cool with their shark tunnels. Yeah.
Reno has gotten 4 Renos.
4 Renos. Look at that. 1 for each paw. And good night, JT. Thanks for staying up with us. We'll see you on Sunday. We're going to go help JT buy some snorkel gear.
So he can snorkel.
Which means we get to go to our favorite dive shop in Orlando to do that.
I'm ready to pack the credit card.
Is that what he said?
No, that's what I said.
Oh, that's what you said? I'm like, that doesn't...
We have Divers Direct credit cards.
Oh, we do have Divers Direct credit cards, yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get him a nice, inexpensive deal on his snorkel gear.
Maybe I'll find stuff I don't need.
You will find stuff you don't need. Although the last couple of times we went to Divers Direct, we didn't buy...
I've been good.
Yeah, we didn't buy a bunch of stuff. So we'll see. Gatlinburg and Myrtle Beach as well for the aquariums. Maybe bring you up as a guest for the live, man. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, bring us up, because we both work at the Florida Aquarium here in Tampa, and we are both animal nerds. I'm talking about Kimbra, not the dog. Dog isn't really an animal nerd. Well, he's kind of a nerd.
I mean, he is an animal.
And he is an animal. So are we.
He does wear bow ties because he has a dive. His collar is a dive collar.
Which is a farce, because the dog is terrified of water.
He is terrified of water.
Like even rain, any water, he's just terrified. But he's our dog, so we make him a diver dog, even though he isn't. All right, you know what? It is 9:33 now.
So I can go have a snack before Down Under.
So we can actually have time to like break everything down and stuff like that. Do you also like Alton Brown? That name sounds familiar, Meg, but I don't know who that is. Maybe if I familiarize myself with that name. It sounds familiar. Is that a puppet person? That sounds weird. A puppet person?
A puppet person? Sean said Reno is not an animal. He's a human dog.
Okay, but humans are animals, so
So
don't get me
he's
started.
an human animal dog.
Good eats. Jim Henson, yes. Paul, we'll get along really well. Jim Henson was a mastermind. I totally agree. Everything that man touched turned into magic, in my opinion. Love Jim Henson. Oh, he had puppets on a cooking show. Okay, no, I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look into that. That's interesting. Cool. Okay. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and say goodbye. And if you go over to Down Under Cruisers in about 26 minutes, we will be in the chat.
Yep.
Until then, everybody, have a great week. Have a fantastic week. And we'll see you next week. How many times can I say week in a short amount of time?
Well, my body is feeling kind of weak.
Oh, nice. Nice. My response was weaker than that.
Yeah, maybe next week you'll do better.
Probably. Now we're just starting to wreak havoc.
Bye, everyone.
We're
We're done.
Havoc.